Ахатовой Канат Петрович. Сайрамбаева Жұлдыз Талгатовна, кандидат of law, associate professor, deputy chairman. Паналиева Гульдана Амангельдиевна, doctor of law, associate professor, members of the council. Алимкул Бирбол Тимирканұлы, candidate of law, associate professor, academic secretary. Temporary members of the dissertation council. Becker Жанна Борисовна, candidate of law, associate professor of the Department of Legal Disciplines of the State Educational Institution of Higher Education, Komi Republican Academy of Public Administration and Management, Russia. Тлешалиев Нурлан Давлеткулович, PhD, attorney at the City Bar Association. Siralieva Alia Majitовна, candidate of law, associate professor of the Department of Jurisprudence, Kazakh National Pedagogical University, named after Abay. We have a quorum. I propose to start the work of the dissertation council. The agenda, today we will participate in the thesis defense of Van Хэюн on the topic jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court on the prosecution of individuals according to the educational program 8D-04-201 International Law. The dissertation was prepared at the Department of International Law at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. Scientific consultants Tatanov Danila Vladimirovich, candidate of law, senior lecturer of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Almaty, Kazakhstan. Second foreign scientific consultant Kai Konyan, foreign scientific advisor, doctor of international law, School of Law, Fudan University, professor, China. Official reviews, Ahmet Berik Valjanovich, PhD, consultant of the representative office of the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan in the Parliament of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Muratova Alva Jaxlыкызы, PhD, head of the Department of Criminal Law Disciplines of the Law Faculty of the Gumilev Eurasian National University. The floor is given to the academic secretary of the dissertation council, candidate of law, associate professor Alimpur Biervol Timokhanova. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, dear members of the dissertation council. Van Хэюн was born on November 26, 1990 in Yan, China, Chinese. Education in 2014, he graduated from Nanchang University with a Bachelor of Jurisprudence degree. In 2017, he earned a master's degree in jurisprudence from Harbin Institute of Technology. In 2023, he graduated from Al-Farabi Kazakh National University with a doctoral degree in international law. During his studies at Nanchang University, he participated in a lot of academic activities held by the Nanchang University and earned several certificates in these activities. During his studies in HIT, he had attended the WTO conference held by WTO in Harbin, where he worked as organizing staff. Furthermore, during his master period, he has published 3 academic articles, and one of them was accepted by the Criminal Law Committee of China in 2016. When he got his master's degree, he went to the St. Petersburg State University and studied Russian language there for 2 years. The topic of his thesis dissertation of jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court on the prosecution of individuals. He has published 16 articles on this topic. 2 articles were published in journal indexed by Scopus. 1 book was published by A.K. Shagil. 6 articles were published in journals recommended by the Committee for Education and Science of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan. And he also published 7 articles in journal and on conference. He is the sole author of all his publications.
Thank you. Have you any question? Any question, please? Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
For the presentation of the main provision of the dissertation, the floor is given to the applicant, please.
Thanks, Chairman.
You can start.
Good afternoon, dear professors and all of the professors. Thanks for your taking your valuable time to listen to my presentation. And thanks sincerely. My name is Wang Hui. I'm from China, as the secretary said before. And well, today is my first day, so I'm bad, but a little bit nervous. Well, okay, let's begin. Let's go to my presentation. The topic of my presentation is the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court on the prosecution of individuals. And today's report, I have divided into 4 parts. The first part is the reference of the presentation. The second, the purpose and the cost. The third is the innovation. The fourth is the conclusions. Okay, let's go to the first part, the relevance of the dissertation. And here, in this part, I also divided them into 3. The first is about the significance. The second is about the dilemmas or the reasons why I will do research on this topic. The third is the research status. Okay, let's go to the first significance. Just as the former Secretary General Kofi Annan said, well, it's such a huge step towards the universal human rights and the construction of the rule of law around the world. So through his words, we can see the significance of the International Criminal Court. But everything has a but. But when the International Criminal Court was established, it faced a lot of dilemmas. We can divide them into 2 parts. The first is theoretical dilemmas. This dilemmas rooted in the Roman statute and the organization itself. So it's a structural dilemmas, and it is very difficult to avoid, or in other words, it's impossible to avoid. And when it exercises its jurisdiction, it also faces the practical dilemmas, just as the justice of the International Criminal Court, also decide. Well, the International Criminal Court faces the provocations and the threats from the major powers in the international affairs. The last part of the first chapter is about the research status. Okay, let's go to the next page. Just as you can see, well, right now the scholars do research on the topic of jurisdiction and the individual criminal responsibility, but seldom the scholar did research on the combination of the 2 issues. They just researched separately. Okay, let's go to the first key. Let's go to the first status, was the individual criminal responsibility and the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court. I divided all of them into two parts. The scholars from the European countries, the scholars from the Asian and African countries. In the European countries, the scholars did research early because their level of the law is quite high. And the research about the individual criminal responsibility, well, experienced three stages. The first is the emergent stage. The second is the establishment stage. The third is the prosperity stage. And in Asian and African countries, all of the scholars will start relatively late. Why? When they approved the Roman Statute, they just did research on this issue. But all of them just will care about the sovereignty, the relationship between sovereignty and the ICR, and the research about the jurisdiction. Was Europe scholars in Europe undergone the idealism, from idealism to the realism. This attitude and creation changed. But in African and Asian countries, scholars just focused on the issue about the nature and the selective justice and practical fines on these issues. Okay, let's go to the last status about the research status. Well, the southern research has this research on the issue of the axiology system. Why? Because this is a very difficult issue, and so only for me, as I know, only Thierry Bassioni had his research on this. But as I said, it's not an axiology system. It's in sense international criminal policy system. Okay, let's go to the next page. Let's start the second part, the purpose and the task of my research. The purpose are already divided into four. The first is the fact, the nature of the international individual criminal responsibility, and I also laid theoretical foundations for this system and answered the question raised by the international community. The second purpose is to introduce some new theory and analysis the dilemmas faced by the International Criminal Court when it exercises its jurisdiction. The third is to find out what is the basic problem faced by the International Criminal Court. The fourth is to solve this basic problem. So according to the purpose of my research, I also list four tasks for my research. The first is to explain nature. The second is the theoretical dilemmas. The third is the practical dilemmas. The fourth is how to solve them. That means the resolutions. Okay, let's go to the next page. The third part is about innovation. The first innovation, I draw a theory from the Roman private law. That the theory name is piercing the veil of the corporate. And in that theory, we can see that the judicial organization deprived the individuals from the corporate and send punishment on the individuals. So yeah, I called this theory, and I created the denial of the personality of the state. And through this theory, I answered the questions raised by the international community. The second innovation is about, I pointed out that the International Criminal Court was heavily influenced by the World Federation movement. And in the claim of the advocates, they think the United States is the world government, the Roman Statute is the world law, and the SEC is the world court. But in reality, the Roman Statute is not the world law, and the international community or international society is highly political. And not only this, but also the Roman Statute is in sense a political issue. Why? Because it is created used and interpreted by the political entities. The third innovation is I introduced a new theory from the German scholar Klaus Rockchen. He raised this theory, functional criminal theory. And I introduced the functional interpretation of the international law. Here, the International Criminal Court conduct this interpretation and result in the violation of the principle of sovereignty and the principle of legality. That's why the party states or the non-party states, they don't want to cooperate with the International Criminal Court. The fourth innovation is I based on the realism foundations, and I found the difference between the domestic situation and the international community. Cause what? The obedience culture and the subject structure is quite different. That's why the warrant of arrest or some orders given by an international criminal court is really difficult to execute. The fifth is I practiced on Bassioni's social contract and his axiology system. I find out that the international criminal justice, that we must access the internationality of the international criminal justice, and the social contract must with the characteristics of state nature. Here I created was a new theory of sovereignty and a new social contract, and then finally the final innovation I established an axiology system. Okay, let's go to the last part. Here we got the conclusions. The first conclusion is I explain the nature and also makes sovereignty and the individual criminal responsibility in harmony. The second conclusion, I list four dilemmas faced by the international criminal courts. The first is the norms of the Roman statutes, lacks of the constraints. The second is the norms of the Roman statutes, lack of the marriage. The third is the unitary design versus the boundary relief. The fourth is the functional interpretation. It varies the principle of sovereignty and legality. Okay, next page.
Next page.
Yeah. The third conclusion is the practical or dilemmas faced by the International Criminal Court. The main reason is it's confronted by the superpowers. In my interpretation, I will list two countries. One is USA, one is my country, China. The second is the warrant of
no problem.
The second is the warrant of arrest is difficult to be executed. Okay, now the fourth conclusion is, well, here I created a new theory of sovereignty. I created a new social contract theory with the state of state nature, and I also will define and discuss the relations between several propositions raised by the international community. And finally, I established a new axiology system. Okay, that's next page. Here you can see the new theory of sovereignty is the start, and the sovereign state. The sovereignty is responsibility. This is a very famous word. What is the responsibility? The responsibility is to protect the human rights, and the human rights is the material value or purposive value, and the sovereign states transfer a part of the judicial authority to the supranational organization like ICC. And the supranational organization through protection of the specific values such as fairness, justice, and orders or security, these specific values to achieve the purpose value, that namely human rights protection. The purposive value transcends the mean values, So the supranational organization through the mean values to protect the purpose values. Okay, that's my decision. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good report. Van Хэюн concludes his report. Who has question about the report, please?
The topic is very relevant, and I have a question. Should the International Criminal Court enlarge the scope of its jurisdiction to protect the rights of victims?
Thanks, Professor. Wow, your question is very interesting. Well, I think, well, in my idea, to enlarge the scope of the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court is very useful because, as I said, the International Criminal Law, especially the jurisprudence, is a common good. So for protection of the victims, it's quite useful. But it's only an idea. Why? Because in reality, the international community is still consists of the sovereign states. And as we all know, the sovereignty is a political issue, and its nature is greedy, and it pursues the selfish political interests. So that's why in the Roman Statute, it stipulates the complementary jurisdiction and the restrict interpretation. That's why this norms exist. So when the Roman Statute was created, the party states only want to hand over as less as possible their sovereignty to the International Criminal Court. So that's why, in reality, it's really difficult to enlarge the scope of the jurisdiction.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, please.
two questions.
Please.
Dear doctoral, first question. Will you describe the development process of the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court?
Okay.
Second question. Two questions. Second question. How do you handle all the conflicts between principle of equal sovereignty and principle the view of state?
Oh,
Thank you.
thanks, Professor. Well, okay, let me answer your first question. The development process of the jurisdiction, right? Yeah. Actually, the development process of the jurisdiction can be divided into three stages. The first stage is just as I described in the dictation. When the International Criminal Court was established, it highly influenced by the World Federation movement. So at that time, the scholars, even the international community, they believed that the International Criminal Court will exercise universal jurisdiction. But when the first situation, like Uganda situation, was referred to the International Criminal Court, the scholars and the whole international community found that the International Criminal Court is not a purely judicial organization. Maybe it's a political jurisdiction. So they less and less believe in the International Criminal Court. And from even after the Libya situation and the Kenya situation, then the International Criminal Court recognized its shortcomings itself. Then from then on, it exercised the optimistic complementary jurisdiction. But with the conflicts more and more occurred, like the conflicts between Israel and Palestine, or the conflicts between Russia and Ukraine occurred, the International Criminal Court can do nothing. So they, for right now, they just can show their expressive functions. They work just like a level They just offer the cases, and all of the world can look through all of the cases and learn from it, and then make the domestic legislations in their country to make their countries better. That's so. It can be divided into 3 stages. First is the universal jurisdiction. The second is the optimistic complementary jurisdiction. The third is the expressive visa function. And the second question, sorry, I cannot.
Van Хэюн, Van China is not part state to the International Criminal Court.
Thank you, Professor Anya. It's really hard stuff, especially for me. I'm a Chinese, but it's a really interesting question. China is not a party state to the International Criminal Court. I think I can explain this question well from the history background. Because when the International Criminal Court established, it was at 2002. At that time, China was not so strong, at least not as strong as right now. And the level of rule of law is quite low. And also, China at that time was a new country. And at that time, China was afraid of its sovereignty invalidated by the International Criminal Court. So our government didn't sign on the Roma Statute. But for now, the situation is quite different. Because as we all know, the purging of the international law from the normative to the argumentative, that means if a power country, it claims its like advocations, it can through all of the ways, whatever it wants, like the military ways, like the economic ways. If the object accepts his claim, that means his claim is legal. For now, my country, well, the skill of the international law is not so prosperity or not so skilled. I think that's why, well, with the changement of the paradigm, China didn't sign on the Roma Statute yet. But I believe, well, China will sign on the Roma Statute and more in the future. That's my answer. Thanks.
Our temporary members, John Navarista has questions.
4 questions.
4 questions. 4 questions.
Do you see all?
Do you see? Oh.
How does the individual responsibility system demonstrate their sovereignty? The first question. The second, in which ways the party states fight against the International Criminal Court? Please give us some examples. Do you need to write maybe? How many ways the International Criminal Court defines what is the customary international law? Is it reasonable?
And the last question is, do you think natural law or kind of a sort of international criminal law?
4 questions.
I will answer one by one.
Yes.
First is,
how does the individual responsibility system demonstrate the sovereignty?
How does the ICR demonstrate the sovereignty? Just more like a coin has 2 sides. The individual criminal responsibility not only restricts the abuse of the sovereignty, but also demonstrates the sovereignty. Why? Because the first, well, under the context of the individual criminal responsibility, the sovereignty action is no longer a partial action. It must take all of others thinking into consideration. Like if one country conducts aggression to another, then maybe another sovereign state can conduct aggression to him, well, in return. So, well, under the context of the international individual criminal responsibility, all of the sovereign states will behave and conduct like some actions in a legal way. They will influenced by the international law, and the international community will be much more harmony order. And finally, the international criminal court, the individual criminal responsibility deprives the individual from the sovereign state. That means they just can send punishment on the individuals. The sovereign state is still noble and still pure. It doesn't violate the principle of sovereignty. That's my answer.
Thank you. Second question.
In which ways the party states fight against the ICC? Please give us some examples. In which ways the party states
The party states
fight
fight
against
against the conference, the SEC. Well, the party states can only in the Roman statutes about Article 75 to 77. Well, it's still less this situation. Well, when the party states they questions the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court and questions the admissibility of the case. That means, well, if they questions, they give the question to the International Criminal Court, they can delay the jurisdiction and delay the admissibility of the case. If, well, just as the principle of trial in absentia stipulated in the Roman statute, if they don't cooperate with the arrest of the criminals, they don't give the evidence to the International Criminal Court, so the work of the International Criminal Court cannot last. That's the way they fight against the International Criminal Court.
That is second question.
Next
question.
How many ways the International Criminal Court defines what is the customary international law? Is it reasonable?
Customary international law. Well, here I remember the standards of how to define the customary international law. There are two things. Opinion juries is the first standard. The second is state practice. But for International Criminal Court, there are three ways. The first is to explain what is the customary international law, and the second is to define it. The third is to reconstruct it. For the first situation, to explain, that means that that kind of customary international already exists. It just reflects the International Criminal Court just reflects this norms. It's legal, of course. It's legal. The second, defined. That means, well, the content of that kind of customary international law is not so clear. The International Criminal Court just make it clear, and it abide by the principle of legality. Of course, it's also legal. But the third way is to reconstruct the customary international law. Like, well, one case, well, in the Gaddafi case, well, the International Criminal Court defines the sex and defines the gender. It obviously violates the customary international law. So it, in a sense, violates the principle of legality. So it's illegal. That's my answer. The first two are legal, and the last is illegal.
The last one. Do you think natural law is a kind of resources of international criminal law?
I don't think so. Well, this question is quite academic. Because, well, you know, international criminal law is a new branch of law. But as I said, just my own opinion, a natural law is not so clear and the content is broad. But at the beginning of the development of the international law, just what is the Nuremberg Trial, the French justice he said a very famous words. If we let this criminals let them free, how can we pay for the thousands of deaths? This is very famous, and so he resorted to the natural law to find the foundations for the conviction of the criminals. And but for now, the international criminal law is developed already prosperity, and will have a lot of resources like the international humanitarian law, international human rights law, and criminal law, and the criminal procedure law. And also in Roman statutes, Article 23, it regulates the customary law and the basic principles, general principles of the domestic legislations, and some other human rights law can be treated as a source of the International Criminal Court. So there is a very broad scope of the resources of the International Criminal Court. So we cannot resort to the natural law as the foundation of the International Criminal Court.
Thank you.
I have one question. Van Хэюн, your dissertation, jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, I see that you know everything about your dissertation concerning your answers, but I have a couple of questions. The first one is, what is the internationality of the international criminal justice in your dissertation? What do you mean under this definition? And how should the International Criminal Court balance the interest between the victims and defendants? Can you answer these questions?
Thanks for the question. The first question is about the internationality of the international criminal justice. The internationality, here we should understand this in two ways. The first way is to what is internationality? Because we can divide these words into inter and national. Why? Because it doesn't like the domestic situation. We citizens just hand over our rights directly to the government, and the government in return protect us. But in international community, it's quite different. We hand over our rights to the government, and the government just works as an agency. He hold back part of the rights and then hand over another part of the rights to the supranational organizations. That's why I call it internationality of the international justice. This is the first way. And the second is international justice. Is that in sense international? I don't think so. Because as a very famous scholar, Jules said, well, even the rule of law, this concept is not universal. Because what? Because each southern state has the vivid local knowledge. I take something for example, like in Libya situation. At that time, the Bashar will hold the reconciliation with the revolution army. But when the International Criminal Court interferes in this situation, the conciliation was ended and the war started again. Was in the African Union, in the African countries, the restorative justice is much more popular than the international criminal justice. Because for the International Criminal Court, the operative logic is one line, just as a prosecutor or composite. There's no peace without justice. That means that justice is the start and the peace is the ending. But for the African countries, the restorative justice includes three things: the peace, the justice, and the reconciliation. So each of the three things depends on each other. They can't be divided. So that's why the justice of the International Criminal Court isn't suitable for the African countries. So that's the second level of internationality. And the third question, the second,
Balance between victim and defendant. What can Okay.
Sanju Marsh?
Thank you very much. I have two questions. First, please tell me what works of Kazakhstani authors were used in your dissertation. Kazakhstani authors. And second question, that is the participation of individuals in the International Criminal Court affects the legal personality in international law. Are the question clear?
sorry, it's right here.
Екіншісі ма? Second question.
Repeat the
Repeat
first
please. Repeat please.
Okay. First question, please tell me what works of Kazakhstani authors were used in your dissertation. Okay. Second question, does the participation of individuals in the international criminal court affect the legal personality in international law?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know that, yeah. The first, when I worked in meditation works, it's very interesting question. Thanks, Professor Edward. I think, well, right now, Kazakhstan is still not the party state to the International Criminal Court, right, as I remember. But, well, I think with the development of the rule of law and the level and the skills of the international criminal law in the Kazakhstan, I think both Kazakhstan and my country, China, will participate in the International Criminal Court. And at that time, I think my work will be useful.
And what about the first question concerning the authors who wrote about this thing?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Scientific works which was devoted to International Criminal Court, which you used in your work, in your dissertation. Чьи труды вы использовали?
Kazakhstan authors,
Kazakhstan.
which you use in your dissertation paper.
Oh, yes, no, maybe. Well, I think, well, is education in the education program, because, well, as I know, well, Professor Edward, your major is, well, philosophy of the laws, right? And, well, in the last part of my dissertation, well, it's about the axiology system of the International Criminal Court. And the axiology in another name is the philosophy of the International Criminal Court. It can, well, reflect the exist laws and transcend its disadvantages and make the exist laws better. So I think, well, in the educational program, we can teach the students from the bachelor to the master how to know the axiology of the international criminal law. And then when they get more knowledge and more wisdom, they will know how to reflect on the exist international criminal law. I think, well, that's where my work can be used.
No, so which authors Ой, Господи.
In your list of reference, you
Yes.
have, for example, Peter Garcia and other
Yeah.
people who
Which
write
scientists
about
who wrote it?
international criminal
Yes.
law. Is that was questioned of Professor Mederbayev? Which authors write about your problem?
Scientists.
Can you name the authors who's right of such kind of problem like you, international criminal law, international criminal code?
Well, the first is my supervisor, Mr. Kabalin. He wrote his dissertation about the individual kind of responsibility, and I mean related to the work crimes. And another is one professor named Dana. She will recommend me. Well, this about the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court. And another case, your name is too long, I can't remember it clearly, but I remember the contents, and I quote in my introduction, and in the nature of the individual criminal responsibility, their work in my dissertation.
Thank you. Thank you. Any more questions?
I think enough. No,
Enough?
enough. I think it's
Thank you. Sit down, please. The floor is now passed to the first domestic scientific consultants, Katalin Kamila Vladimirovich. Please. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, I'm a supervisor of Хэюн. Хэюn is our first, my first PhD student and our first PhD student abroad who defend her dissertation in the Dissertational Council of Farabi University of Educational Program, Jurisprudence and International Law. As a scientific supervisor, I want to say about the dissertation. The dissertation is devoted of the research, one of the key aspects of international criminal law, the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court. The issues raised by the author are of fundamental importance for ensuring international justice and preventing impunity of serious crimes against humanity, like aggression, like genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and others. First of all, I want to say about the relevance of the research. It's modern international relations are characterized by significant challenges in the field of human rights, international security, and fight against impunity for crimes that harm of humanity. Against this background, the role of the International Criminal Court as the central body of international criminal justice becomes especially significant. Studying the jurisdiction of the ICC is important for understanding its capabilities, limitations, and impact of the international legal system. The author embraces the globalization of conflicts, the growth of transnational crimes, and competency of the international between national and international justice system require as an in-depth analysis of legal mechanism for bringing individuals to justice. The dissertation clearly demonstrates Хэюn's relevance process of contemporary approaches to solve the problem associated with the ICC jurisdiction. Хэюn studies points out that the International Criminal Court is a product of the world federal movement and the ideal prospects created by the international community, by analogy with domestic monistic legal system. However, the legal system of international community is dualistic, and international community is society based on sovereign states. Therefore, the activities of the National Criminal Courts are full of difficulties in the real international community. The second point is scientific novelty of the dissertation. The author research scientific originality and depth of the analysis among the key achievements of the research are: the first is rethinking the principle of complementary and also examines in detail how national courts can interact with the ICC, in what cases this interaction becomes difficult. Second one, consideration of the personal jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court over high-ranking officials. The dissertation affirms the original view of the issue of immunity and responsibility of head of the states. Third, jurisdiction approach to expanding territorial jurisdiction. The author analyzed issues related to jurisdiction in situation where crimes are committed in state and not parties of their own state. As you know, not parties of their own status, big powers like Russian Federation, the United States of America, the People's Republic of China and Kazakhstan also didn't sign and ratify Rome Statute, and many other countries. And the last one, analysis of case law. The author pays attention to cases pending before the ICC was established and use them to confirm his theoretical conclusions. The next one is theoretical and practical significance. The work has both theoretical and applied value. The theoretical significance lies on the systematization of knowledge about the ICC jurisdiction and proposal of new approach to solving problems related to effective functions. The practical significance is also recommendations and conclusions can be used in the development of international treaties and other regulations governing the international jurisdiction system and the ICC. In the law enforcement practice, especially in difficult situations when national courts are unable to, unwilling to hold those responsibility accountable. And finally, in the conclusion, I want to say that Хэюn's dissertation on the title of Jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court to prosecute individuals as a scientific contribution to the development of the science of international criminal law. It's distinguished by relevance, originality, and practical significance. The work demonstrates the high level of professionalism of the author and delivers the positive assessment. The dissertation is recommended like a scientific supervisor for defense, and his author worthy of being awarded the academic degree of PhD in international law. Thank you for attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel Williams. The foreign scientific consultant for the dissertation is Kai Konyan, Doctor of International Law, School of Law, Fudan University professor, who has provided positive feedback. The review will be presented by Yvonne Temirganova.
Thank you very much. Allow to me present review of the foreign international consultant review of PhD dissertation of Wang Хэюn, jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court on the prosecution of individuals. The review consists 5 topics. First, value of dissertation. The International Criminal Court established in accordance with Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court of 2002 represents its newest milestone of international law in relation to individual criminal liability. International Criminal Court is expected to deliver international justice beyond national jurisdiction, bringing individual responsible for service or wrongdoing criminal accountable from the very beginning. However, International Criminal Court faced various doubts and critics. Some people are concerned that International Criminal Court might not effectively work as they expected, while some others worry that this new court might unduly infringe the sovereignty. Thirdly, International Criminal Court significantly redefines the relationship between national law and international law. Practically, International Criminal Court may be dysfunctional because of power politics. Unfortunately, this doubt and criticism in the past decade are demonstrated not unsound. Therefore, this dissertation adds a significant lecture on the existing research by addressing several crucial legal issues. Aim of the dissertation. In contrast with many other early publications who held imaginative expectation of international criminal justice, this dissertation takes a realist approach to international criminal court jurisdiction. It engages those real legal difficulties arising from the international criminal court operating. Therefore, this dissertation is both deconstructive and constructive. It is further of help for many people thinking of the international criminal courts. Third, the structure, methodology, and the historical and the practical importance of this dissertation. The structure of this dissertation is sound and logical. The author first defines the nature of international criminal courts jurisdiction over individuals. Then the author examines the legal and political dilemmas that international criminal court exercises the jurisdiction face. Based on that, the author presents several suggestions. This dissertation is theoretically significant and is not only descriptive, but also deconstructive and constructive. It undertakes sophisticated theoretical debates on the fundamental issues of international law, including sovereignty, jurisdiction, legitimacy, legality, and the law enforcement. Fourth, special strength of this dissertation. This dissertation is especially powerful as follows. First, this dissertation unequivocally presents his view on the nature of the prosecution over individuals. In the author's views, the international criminal court prosecution over individual is to deny the personality of the state. Second, this dissertation accurately captured the difficulties that international criminal court faces, especially relying on the international criminal court statutes and the case study. The author undertakes exhaustive legal debates on legal provisions and mechanisms. Third, several value proposals and after presence in part 3 of this justification are novel. And the conclusion remarks. In light of this, I do believe that the dissertation entitled Jurisdiction of International Criminal Court on the Prosecution of Individuals by Yang He-yang can be assessed as a complete research work. Corresponding in its historical and methodological level and the practice significance to the requirements required for this kind of work, and they can be recommended for public reference in the dissertation council of the Al Farabi Caliph National University, and also deserve to be awarded the third degree of PhD in international law. Foreign scientific advisor Kanyan Kai.
Thank you, General Conley. The floor is now given to the first official reviewer, PhD Ahmet Berik. Berik Borjanovic, please turn on your microphone.
Good afternoon, dear members of the Dissertation Council and dear guests. Let me give you my review. The dissertation titled Jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court over the Prosecution of Individuals, prepared by Won Hye-yoon for the degree of PhD in the educational program 8D04201 International Law. Position number 1, criteria. Compliance of the dissertation topic with the directions of scientific development or state programs. Compliance with criteria. Compliance with scientific development directions. 1.1, the dissertation was completed within the framework of a project or target program financed from the state budget. The dissertation was completed within the framework of another state program. Position of official reviewer. The dissertation by Won Hye-yoon titled Jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court over the Prosecution of Individuals was prepared for the degree of PhD within the educational program 8D04201 International Law. The research aligns with the provisions of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, and the Convention Against Torture and other cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment of punishment, fully adhering to the objective and the tasks outlined in the academic plan. The dissertation corresponds to the training objectives and the program 4D042 International Law, and meets the academic standards for doctoral studies in the fields of 8D40201 International Law. Position number 2. Criteria, importance to science, compliance with criteria. The work makes a significant contribution to science and its significance. Position of official reviewer. On one hand, this dissertation is theoretical significant. It is not only descriptive, but deconstructive and constructive. First, it presents his view on the nature of the prosecution on individuals, namely, deny the personality of the state which set the tone for the whole dissertation. Second is captures the difficulties faced by International Criminal Court when it exercises its jurisdiction, and the author undertakes exhaustive legal debates on legal provisions and the mechanisms which make the essay powerful. Third, this dissertation established an axiology system for the international criminal law to defend for justice of the rule of international criminal law around the world. On the other hand, the practical importance of this dissertation is obvious. The author presents several suggestions which are helpful for the due exercise of the jurisdiction of the international criminal law. Criteria, position number 3 criteria, the principle of self-writing. Complaints with criteria self-writing level high. Position of official reviewer, the overall quality of the dissertation is high, the writing is fluent, clear, and professionally executed. The dissertation leaves a strong and a positive impression on the reader. Position 4 criteria, the principle of internal unity. Complaints with criteria, justification of the relevance of the thesis, founded. Position of official reviewer, the dissertation represents a scientifically significant study presenting original and theoretically well substantiated results. The reliability and the objectivity of the findings beyond doubt, supported by a thorough analysis of primary sources and law enforcement practices. The scientific novelty of the research lies in its status as one of the first comprehensive attempts to examine the responsibility of individuals within the framework of international law. Given that this aspect of the International Criminal Court jurisdiction remains underexplored, the author has successfully demonstrated the relevance of the chosen topic and its importance for the continued development of international criminal law. Complaints with criteria, the content of the dissertation determines to the topic of the dissertation. The content of the dissertation is fully aligned with the research plan. Through the study and the analysis of the dissertation, the research content clearly defines and reflects the topic. The work is structured into 3 interrelated sections, ensuring a coherent and logical presentation of the material. Complaints with criteria, the goal and the objectives correspond to the topic of the dissertation. Position of official reviewer, the goals and objectives of the research have been fully achieved. The dissertation presents a comprehensive study of the theoretical and the practical challenges and the dilemmas related to the exercise of jurisdiction by the International Criminal Court. Based on an analysis of the provision of the Rome Statute and the case studies, the author conducted in-depth legal discussions concerning legal norms and the mechanisms of their application in international law. The work proposes innovative value-based approach to addressing the identified issue. In particular, an original method of structuring international criminal law is developed, dividing into 3 components: factology, norms, and axiology. The dissertation not only critically evaluates exciting axiological theories of international criminal law, but also introduces a new theory of sovereignty and formulates a preliminary axiological framework from the perspective of political realism. Complicated with criteria, all section and the structure of the dissertation are logically connected, completely connected. Position of official reviewer. One of the distinguishing features of the dissertation is the coherent and logically structured integration of all its sections, which is evidenced by the consistent presentation of the material in alignment with the overall framework and the logical system of the study. The research is conducted at a high academic level with the dissertation thoroughly addressing all components of the research process. Compliance with criteria, new solutions proposed by the author, proven and evaluated in comparison with already known solutions. Position of official reviewer. The author conducted a comparative analysis of the subject beginning from a historical perspective and extending to this application in the contemporary stage of international criminal justice practice. The new results presented by the author are substantive and evaluated in comparison with exciting approaches supported by thorough critical analysis. Position number 5 criteria, the principle of scientific novelty. Compliance with criteria 5.1. Are the scientific results principle new, completely new? Position of official reviewer. The scientific results and the principles presented in the dissertation are entirely novel, significantly enhancing the work's value as it contributes to the advancement of international criminal law. The importance of these findings lie in identifying the core challenge to international criminal court jurisdiction and the enforcement of individual criminal responsibility, the denial of the historical evaluation of sovereignty. As globalization deepens, interstate relations become increasingly interconnected with international treaties, agreements, and the customs reflecting the gradual transfer of sovereignty, affirming in its historical nature. Establishing the rule of law in the field in international criminal law can enhance the international criminal court's effectiveness, curb the abuse to sovereignty, and contribute to maintaining international order and the human well-being. Position 5.2 complaints with criteria. As a finding of the dissertation new, completely new. Position of official reviewer, the conclusion of the dissertation are completely new. Position 5.3 complaints with criteria as a technical, technological, economic, and managerial decision new justified. Position of official review as a technical, technological, economic, or management solution are completely new and justified. Position number 6 criteria, validity of the main conclusion. Compliance with criteria. All conclusions are substantive in large-scale evidence from a scientific point of view. Position of official reviewer. The main conclusion presented by the author in the dissertation are based on reliable data, both from a scientific point of view and from a scientific point of view. All conclusions go back to comprehensive and systematic scientific works and the principles and adhering the topic taken as the main object of the study, and the scientific conclusion are made on the basic analysis and the comprehensive analysis. Position number 7 criteria, the main principles path forward for defense. in compliance with criteria for each principle, the following questions must be answered. Answer number 7.1 is the principle proven. Position of official reviewer. The dissertation presents four main conclusions submitted for defense. Result 1. The nature of the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court on prosecution of individual is to deny to the national personality prosecution individuals both limits and demonstrates state sovereignty, which make contribution to the rule of international criminal law. Result number 2. The prosecution of individuals could contribute to the rule of international criminal law. The International Criminal Court is facing horrible difficulties when exercising its jurisdiction. This dissertation divided the difficulties faced by the International Criminal Court into two parts. First, the ICC is facing with the theoretical difficulties such as conceptual dilemma, unitary design, and the dual reality. Dilemma of the coercive force of norms. The Rome Statute lacks coercive force. Dilemma of regulatory clarity. Vague provisions of discretionary power lead sovereign states refuse to cooperate. And the legal technology dilemma. Functional interpretations v legality, which caused difficulties for the International Criminal Court to exercise its jurisdiction over individual prosecutions. Results number 3. Second, the practical difficulties faced by the ICC includes political dilemma. Opposition from major power make it difficult to enforce the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court. And the execution dilemma, arrest warrants difficult to execute, resulting in the court's jurisdiction being vacated. These two main realistic reasons makes it difficult for the International Criminal Court to exercise its jurisdiction of the individuals. Result number 4. The basic reason why the International Criminal Court is difficult to exercise its jurisdiction is the tension between sovereignty and the common good. The way to overpass selfish sovereignty interest is to defend for the justice of the rule of international criminal law, and the way to defend justice for the rule of international criminal law is to construct an axiology system for the international criminal jurisprudence, which contributes to the ideal construction for the rule of international criminal law. This article proposed axiology system that towards several core propositions in the international criminal axiology system, and the point the rule of international criminal law is both a kind of common good and the protection of individual rights. Position number 8. Criteria. The principle of consistency, sequence of source, and the presented information. Compliance with criteria. Number 8.1, choice of methodology justified or methodology clearly stated. Yes. Position of official reviewer. The chosen research methodology is well justified and clearly articulated. The author presents a precise and systematic approach to the study, which serves as a key factor in ensuring the objectivity and the reliability of the results. The dissertation's methodological framework involves the comprehensive application of normative legal analysis, the historical method, comparative legal analysis, and the qualitative research techniques. The methodology is presented in a coherent and a credible manner, providing a solid foundation for confidence in the research outcomes and establishing the dissertation as a valuable contribution to the field. Now, position 8.2, compliance with criteria. The results of the dissertation work were obtained using modern methods of scientific research and the methods of processing and interpreting data using computer technologies. Yes, position of official reviewer. The results of the dissertations we obtained using modern scientific research methods as well as advanced techniques for data processing and interpretation. The author employed cutting-edge computer technologies which ensured a high-level accuracy and reliability in the analysis of large volumes of information. Position 8.3 complaints with criteria. Position of official reviewer. Yes, theoretical conclusion models identified relationships and patterns presented in the dissertation substantiated and validated through experimental research. This ensures that the scientific principles and the conclusions outlined in the dissertation are credible and well-founded. In the context of analyzing international criminal justice practices, quantitative data were processed guarantee objectivity and accuracy, employing statistical methods to ensure the reliability and the reproducibility of the research results. This provided additional confirmation of the theoretical assumption. Such an approach not only allowed for the verification of the proposed hypothesis, but also facilitated the discovery of new correlations and patterns in the development of Kazakhstan labor and the legal system. Position 8.4 complaints with criteria. Position of official reviewer. Supported. The data presented in the course of the research is supported by references to credible and reliable scientific literature. The bibliography includes relevant academic sources containing numerous verified data that substantiate the key finding of the dissertation. Position 8.5 compliance with criteria. Position of official reviewer. The bibliography used in the dissertation is sufficient to provide a comprehensive literature review. The author demonstrates a deep understanding of the research topic by referencing a wide range of the scholarly works, including contemporary monographs, peer-reviewed journal articles, as well as international documents and the decision of the International Criminal Court. The selection of its literature left the relevance and the diversity of approach to the study, capturing the multifaceted and the complex nature of the subject. The inclusion of both classical works in this field and the latest publication ensures the completeness and timeliness of the literature review. The dissertation ubiquitously incorporates Chinese academic literature, textbooks, and scholarly articles. To conduct a thorough investigation to the research topic, the author reviewed an extensive body of scientific literature, utilizing 161 sources. Position number 8, criteria, the principle of practical value. Position number 8.1 complaints with criteria. The dissertation has theoretical significance. Yes, the dissertation position of official review. The dissertation possesses significant scientific and theoretical value, contributing to a deeper understanding and the development of the theoretical foundation of the International Criminal Institution of individual criminal
Technical problem.
Wait some minute. Our official
Technical
review,
problem.
yeah, maybe technical problem.
Yes.
Sorry. Sorry.
Ah,
Position number 10. Criteria, quality of writing and the presentation. Compliance with criteria, quality of academic writing, high. The quality of academic writing is high, characterized by the logical coherence of chapters, well-reasoned argumentation, strong writing skills, thoroughness, and clarity. Position number 11, criteria, comments on the dissertation. Position of official reviewer. The dissertation by Wang Хэюн is characterized by substantial content and executed at a high scientific level. However, the following comments and recommendations are provided. Since the dissertation is written in English, it's extensively references the works of foreign scholars. However, it is recommended to incorporate the research of Kazakhstan authors as well. The remarks advisory in nature and do not affect the overall positive assessment of the dissertation. Position number 12, criteria, the scientific level of the doctoral students' article on the research topic. Position of official reviewer, the main theoretical concepts, conclusions, and practical recommendation of the dissertation presented in the 16 scientific publications, including 2 articles in international journal indexed in Scopus database, 8 articles in the scientific journal recommended by the committee, 3 articles in the proceeding of international conference, and 3 articles in the other national publications. Position 13, criteria, decision of the official reviewer. Position of official reviewer, Wang Хэюn is eligible to be awarded the degree, PhD, under the educational program 8D04201 International Law. Thank you for attention.
Thank you very much, Erik Orjanovic. The floor is now passed to the doctoral student to respond to the comments, please.
First, I'd like to say thank you, Professor Erik. Well, thanks for you taking your valuable time to spend for reading my dissertation and give such valuable suggestions and comments on my dissertation. Well, I think I will, according to your suggestions, like quote and read more works about which is written by the Kazakhstan scholars, and I think in the future I will make a comparison between China and Kazakhstan, and I think I will read as much as more as possible. And well, I think in my work your suggestions will be achieved, and that's our promise. Thanks.
Thank you. Sulan, please. Thank you. The floor is now given to the second reviewer, PhD Muratova Alva Жақсылықызы. Please.
Dear Chairperson, esteemed members of the Dissertation Council, allow me to express my gratitude for the opportunity to appear before official review. The dissertation submitted by Wang Хэюn for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in the educational program 8D04201 International Law is dedicated to the topic jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court over the prosecution of individuals. Allow me to present my review. Criteria number 1, compliance of the dissertation topic with the directions of scientific development and or state programs. Yes, the dissertation corresponds to the priority direction of scientific development approved by the Higher Scientific and Technical Commission under the government of the Republic of Kazakhstan, intellectual potential of the country, specifically within the specialized scientific field of public administration, legal system, legal reforms, and international legal order. It is worth noting that the applicant dissertation research align with the concept of legal policy of the Republic of Kazakhstan until 2030, approved by the decree of the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan number 670 for the dated October 15, 2021. Criteria number 2, importance to science. The dissertation makes significant contribution to science, particularly in the field of international criminal law. The study provides an in-depth analysis of the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, examines the theoretical and practical challenges of its functioning and proposes solution to these issues. The importance of the research is well demonstrated through analysis of jurisdictional problems of International Criminal Court ICC, including political and regulatory obstacles, as well as a proposal methodological approach to constructing the international legal axiological system. Criteria number 3, the principle of self-writing. Self-writing level is high. The dissertation will demonstrate a high level of self-writing as evidenced by its structured research approach. The applicant independently formulates scientific position, conducts a critical analysis of sources, yes, and proposes original solutions to current issues of the jurisdiction of International Criminal Court. Criteria number 4, the principle of international unity, justification of the relevance of the thesis is chosen number 4.1, founded. The relevance of the dissertation is well-founded as it addresses fundamental issues concerning with jurisdiction with ICC, which hold both theoretical and practical significance for the advancement of international criminal law. Position 4.2, the content of the dissertation determines the topic of the dissertations, determines the dissertation's content clearly defines and develops the topic, ensuring structures and comprehensive examinations. Each chapter systematically addresses aspects of ICC with jurisdiction from theoretical foundations and legal dilemmas to practical enforcement challenges and proposed solutions. Position 4.3, the goal and objectives corresponds to the topic of the dissertation. It corresponds. The goal and objectives of the dissertation are fully aligned with its topic, ensuring a focused and structured approach to the research. The dissertation aims to analyze the nature of ICC jurisdiction, identify and theoretical and practical challenges, and propose solution for enhancing it. Next position is 4.4. all sections and the structure of the dissertation are logically connected. I think that's its second position. It's partially connected. While the dissertation presents a comprehensive and detailed study of the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, the structure appears overly fragmented due to excessive number of sections and subsections. And the abundance and subdivisions, yes, though aimed at ensuring a thorough analysis, disrupts the logical flow of the research and making it difficult to maintain a cohesive narrative. Next position is 4.5. New solutions proposed by the author are proven and evaluated in comparison with already known solutions. And the analysis was carried out partially. While the dissertation next criteria is 5, the principle of scientific novelty. Position 5.1, are the scientific results and principle new. The scientific results and principle presented in the dissertation can be classified as semi-new, 25 to 75% are new, because they build upon existing legal theories while introducing certain novel aspects. The dissertation expands on the concept of denial of state personality as a foundation for individual criminal responsibility within extracting perspective, but not entirely new. Similar principles have been developed since the Nuremberg trials and further elaborated in the practice of the International Criminal Court. Position 5.2 are the findings of the dissertation new. Yes, completely new. The findings of the dissertation are completely new. Next position is 5.3 as a technical, technological, economical, or managerial decision new and justified. Completely new. The technical, technological, economical, and management solutions proposed in the dissertation are entirely original and so thoroughly substantiated. Criteria number 6, validity of the main conclusions. All conclusions in the dissertation are substantiated with large-scale evidence from a scientific perspective, particularly within qualitative research and the humanities. Criteria number 7, the main principles put forward for defense. Result number 1 is the principle proven, no trivial, new, yes, a level of use is medium, and 7.5 proven in the work, yes. Results number 2 is a principle proven, approximately proven, no trivial, new, medium level of use, and proven in the work, yes. Results number 3 is the principle proven, approximately proven, no trivial, no new. Level of use medium, proven in the work, yes. Results number 4 is the principle proven, yes, proven, no trivial, new, level of use wide, and proven in the work, yes. Next criteria is criteria number 8, the principle of consistency. 8.1, choice of methodological justified or methodological clearly stated, yes. Yes, the choice of methodology is justified in the dissertational. Next position is 8.2. The results of the dissertational work were obtained using modern methods of the scientific research and method of processing and interpretation of the data using computer technologicals. No. The dissertational employs modern methods of scientific research, such as comparative, legal analysis, historical analysis, and empirical legal studies, but is not demonstrated the use of computer technological for data processing and interpretation. Next position, 8.3. The theoretical conclusions model identified relationships and patterns and proven and confirmed by experimental studies. No. No, because dissertational provides theoretical conclusions, models, and identificate relationships, but they are not confirmed by experimental studies. Next position is 8.4. Important claims are supported by references to specific and reliable scientific literature. Important claims supported by references to specific and reliable scientific literature. The dissertational cites legal doctrines, international treaties, case law, and academic publications, ensuring that key arguments are graduate and established scholarships. However, some claims could benefit from additional empirical or case-based reference for stronger validation. Next position, 8.5, the list of reference is the list of references sufficient for lateral review. The dissertation includes a broad range of legal sources, academic publications, and international treaties, case law, and theoretical works of ICC. Criteria number 9, the principle of practical value. Position 9.1, the dissertation has theoretical significance, yes. The dissertational has theoretical significance as it contributes to the understanding of ICC jurisdiction, sovereignty, and international criminal responsibility, yes. And next position, 9.2, the dissertation has practical significance and has a high possibility of applying the obtained results in practice. Yes, the dissertational has practical significance and its findings can contribute to international legal reforms, particularly in strengthening ICC jurisdiction and addressing enforcement challenges. Next position, 9.3, as a practical recommendations new. The practical recommendation in the dissertation are semi-new, 25 to 75% are new, because they combine existing legal solutions with some original theoretical contributions. Criteria number 10, quality of writing and presentation. The quality of academic writing is in the dissertational is average due to its hourly segmented structure, which affects of logical flow and readability, while the research is well referenced and based on a solid legal foundation. The excessive number of sections and subsections makes argumentation fragmented and less cohesive. Some parts like clarity and conciseness, requiring criteria number 11, comments on the dissertations. While the dissertation presents thorough legal analysis, the issues with reference formatting, excessive reliance on Chinese sources, yes, and the lack of Kazakh legal materials are notable shortcomings. Addressing these issues, it improves the work, academic rigor, and accessibility. Criteria 13, decision of the official review. Wang Хэюн meets the requirement for the conferral of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, within the framework of the educational program 8D04201 International Law. That's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Alva Жақсылықызы. The floor is now given to the applicant, please.
Thanks, Professor Allen. Your analysis my dissertation into detail. I feel that you said I divided my dissertation into several parts, not several, too many parts, and the subtitles is too much. So it will maybe to harm to the logic of the dissertation. Well, it's a very valuable suggestion. I will keep that in mind. And that you mentioned that the practical significance of my dissertation is not so high. So yeah, because I think my dissertation analysis according to the theoretical foundation. So maybe in the future work, I will quote, draw and more cases to make it practical. Thanks, and thanks for your advice.
Thank you. Sit down, please. The next stage of our meeting is the discussion. Who would like to share their opinion?
Professor Wang Хэюн. Professor Wang Хэюн.
Please.
Yes.
Здравствуйте. Уважаемые председатели и члены диссертационного совета, дорогие коллеги и гости, рада приветствовать вас на защите диссертации Ван Хэюн. Мое имя Ван Хэюн. Я являюсь деканом юридического факультета Харбинского политехнического университета. Итак, я являюсь доктором юридических наук. В 2002 году я закончила аспирантуру кафедры международного права и защитила кандидатскую диссертацию ко сну имени Аль-Фараби. Для меня это особенно важная защита, так как я была его научным руководителем Ван Хэюн во время учебы в магистратуре. Ван Хэюн – один из лучших студентов, с которым мне довелось работать. Именно поэтому мы рекомендовали его для продолжения научной работы в Казахстане. Он упорный, талантливые и трудолюбивые исследователи, и его диссертация – результат многолетнего труда и преданности науке. Сегодня он представляет свою работу, в которой глубоко изучил важную тему. Я уверена, что его исследование имеет ценность и может внести вклад в науку. Прошу уважаемых членов диссертационного совета поддержать Ван Хэюн и пожелать ему успехов в дальнейшей научной карьере. Большое вам спасибо за внимание.
Спасибо большое, спасибо вам большое. Any other opinions?
Okay, I would like to say some words about this today's defending. First of all, I would like to congratulate all our dissertational council because today is the first defending of foreign students. It's a great event for us, I think, and it makes our dissertational council international council, and it highlights us as a university with global outlook, and the university is a scientific university. So dissertation of our Хэюn's dissertation, which was devoted to jurisdiction of International Criminal Court, I think it's very actual for our republic, and of course it's very actual for international law in a whole. And that is why we can say that this research have very important significance for everybody, as for our science and for Chinese science of international law, and in general for international criminal law. Wang Хэюн, he demonstrates today his strong theoretical knowledge, his strong theoretical skills, analytical skills, and he, as I saw, he published almost 16 academic articles on this topic, and he showed independent work and recognition in the research community. So as he is from China, I think that it's a good sign for us, because the direction of our cooperations, it's good relationships with China, with our neighbor country. So today's defense, it's a start for new defending, because we have a lot of students from People's Republic of China, and I think that Wang Хэюn, he showed a good level of new defending. So I can say that I'm satisfied by today's defense, and I asked all my colleagues to support our PhD student, and I think that we should vote for his successful defending.
Thank you. Можно? Да, можно.
Уважаемый председатель, уважаемые члены диссертационного совета, дорогой наш докторат, слушая блестящую защиту, высокий уровень английского языка, я тоже 2 года учился в Англии, но мой уровень туби, поэтому позвольте мне выступить кратко на русском языке. Да, однозначно, я с этой работой Ван Сёнга ознакомился по его публикациям. Вот когда многочисленные публикации читал, я обратил внимание, что вот отрадно отметить, что в наше время проводится такая актуальная тема, что у всех на устах Беньямин Нетаньяху, Владимир Путин. Насколько тема актуальная? Она что актуализирует? В первую очередь национальные интересы. Что у нас до сих пор нет единых международных правил общих национальных интересов. У каждого государства есть свои. Это главная причина, это я видел его в трудах,
которая создает проблемы относительно универсальной юрисдикции Международного уголовного суда. Бельгия, например, в его работе, я помню, в Вестнике Института законодательства не быстро публиковался, он писал, бельгийское законодательство, оно было прогрессивное, однако под политическим давлением они просто взяли и отозвали. И Израиль, и так далее. То есть сейчас идет определенный диктат. Тоже, например, действие России в ходе украинского конфликта изменило сейчас международное право позиции многих государств. Например, Финляндия, Швеция вступили в НАТО. Чисто вот эти аспекты. Кто сейчас у нас соблюдает международное право? Союз распался, международное право стало неэффективным. Только право силы, как в средние века. Но я этим, знаете, вот хотел просто подчеркнуть, очень кратко. Я сугубо человек научный, 30 лет работаю в научной сфере. Вот уровень защиты, вот как вы на английском выступаете, присутствующие. Вот сейчас Жулдис Талгатовна подчеркнула его работу, что он не только, как говорится, раскрыл формально международное, он еще реально раскрыл, реально. А реально оно заключает то, что, о чем я говорю, что оно не действует. Это реально международное право. То есть, как Фидель Кастро говорил, сейчас у нас идет большая говорильня, особенно в стенах ООН. Я однозначно, как все присутствующие, научный руководитель, очень серьезный, Татаринов, я его знаю, очень серьезный научный руководитель. Он молодец. Его старания он подготовил по Вансюнгу. На внешний вид посмотришь, сразу видно трудоголик. Поэтому я полностью поддерживаю ваше публичное обсуждение. Я считаю, он достоин присуждения при голосовании ученых сил кандидат наук. Спасибо. Ой, не кандидат, прошу прощения. Доктор PhD.
Спасибо, Арам. Конечно, конечно. Қанғали Жолманович.
Рахмет. Талаптарыңызға жаңағы зорлық қылмай ақ қойыңыздар, қазақша немесе орысша айта берейін.
Иә.
Орысша айта берейін, перевод оңай ғой.
Иә, әрине.
Иә. Вступление сделаю, что еще раз, что не хотелось бы как насиловать ваши уши и души, как говорится. Поэтому на государственном либо на официальном языке. Хочу подчеркнуть актуальность темы. Арон Иванович сказал, действительно актуальная тема, действительно международного уголовного суда, в том числе государственная юрисдикция сводится. Первая работа вообще международного права по юрисдикции международного суда. А в целом по международному уголовному суду были несколько работ, вот, где-то прямо, где-то косвенно затрагивались эти аспекты. Но на английском языке впервые, плюс на кафедре, значит, первый иностранец, насколько я знаю, который выходит на защиту. То есть это все придает исторический характер этой защите в определенном смысле, с чем я хочу поздравить кафедру международного права, диссертационный совет.
Не, он третий иностранец. Ван Кунвей, который выступал, Иван Сьонг.
Они на русском языке, наверное.
Да.
Да, они кандидаты, прошу прощения.
На английском языке PhD, первый выпускник, значит, иностранец. Вот, поэтому я хочу с этим поздравить. Бастамасы жақсы, ары қарай енді жалғасын таба берсін, шетелдіктер көп қорғасын деп тілектен білдіргім. Для этого все эти есть, у нас, как говорится, предпосылки. Значит, актуальность работы, значит, не буду на этом остановиться, потому что Арон Аманжолович и другие выступающие тоже подчеркивали по юрисдикции Международного уголовного суда. Значит, очень важный момент. Мені мана сұрақ берген, неге қатысты жаңағы бірінші біздің қазақстандық авторларға қатысты, потому что у него упор делается все равно на западном международного уголовного права и китайских авторов. По источникам даже примерно процентов 35, наверное, это китайские авторы. Но по международному уголовному суду, конечно, много можно спорить и так далее, потому что до сегодняшнего дня, посмотрите, уже вот Арон Иванович не зря говорит, да, что сейчас мир раскололся на два лагеря. Вот, и посмотрите, те страны, которые против США не участвуют в международном уголовном суде. Почему? Потому что юрисдикцию они своих военнослужащих, которые по всему миру во многих вооруженных конфликтах, они под юрисдикцию международного суда не хотят. Раз. Второе, значит, Российская Федерация против, потому что тоже во многих конфликтах участвуют, своих граждан, они под юрисдикцию этого суда не будут. Китай не участвует против. Кого еще надо вам, например? То есть там остается совершенно небольшая группа, это Европейский Союз и их союзники, скажем так. Да? Поэтому плюс по ордеру на арест сейчас, вот то, что противостояние, Международный уголовный суд выдал ордер на арест президента Российской Федерации. Это нереально. Как они хотят арестовать его, привлечь к ответственности? А Генеральная прокуратура, Следственный комитет при Генпрокуратуре возбудил уголовное дело в отношении этих судей, которые приняли это решение. Теперь они их преследуют. То есть противостояние, и к чему это привело? Неужели потому, что возросла эффективность норм международного уголовного права? Нет. Значит, они загоняют международное уголовное право, наоборот, в тупик. Поэтому все эти аспекты, конечно, они вот с работой связаны. Значит, второй мой вопрос был связан с правосубъектностью индивидов в международном праве, потому что западная доктрина говорит о том, что путем участия в международных судебных органах, значит, это является одним из доказательств того, что субъект становится на один уровень с государством, то есть в международных судебных органах в качестве, значит, двух сторон они равны процессуальной позиции права получают индивид и государство. Поэтому в этом отношении, значит, у меня вопрос как раз в этой плоскости был задан, что, значит, правосубъектность индивида в международном праве, вопрос, который дискутируется много лет, западная доктрина за то, чтобы придать правосубъектность индивиду в международном праве, восточноазиатская, там, не европейская, а восточноевропейская, да, нынешняя ассамблея, там, Россия и так далее, против этого. Почему? Потому что за этим сразу следует международное право субъектность транснациональных корпораций, Журсалатна хорошо знает и так далее и тому прочее. Поэтому здесь очень много теоретических и практических вопросов современных международных отношений, международного права затрагиваются этой темой. И вот, конечно, он это тяжело, вот, но в плане того, что те вопросы, которые были перед ним поставлены в диссертационной работе, я считаю, что он успешно справился, хорошую работу подготовил, ее можно будет теперь показывать. Теперь надо будет сделать, значит, нашему дорогому докторанту Ван Хэюну, значит, рекомендацию, чтобы он опубликовал свою диссертацию. Значит, желательно, чтобы Казгудан опубликовать вашу диссертацию, рекомендацию от кафедры можно получить после защиты. Вот. Тогда говорят, я думаю, что работа хорошая, и я не член диссертации, но если был бы членом, я бы с удовольствием отдал свой голос за эту работу и призвал всех членов проголосовать за.
Thank you. Any other opinions? I think enough. Next, the floor is passed to the applicant, please.
Thanks, all of the professors, for your valuable advice and comments, and especially your support for my defense. And I feel warm, although outside is cold, but I feel warm over my heart. And I'd like to say thank you for the unblind viewers earlier.
It's not your last speech.
But more things, I think, all in one word. Thank you.
Thank you. Sit down, please. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, for the voting process, each member is required to participate in a secret ballot by using the link sent individually via email. Stay here only members of Dissertation Council and official reviewer only. Other guests, please. 5-10 minutes. Yes. Без минута. Голосование. Ага. Жанна Борисовна? Жанна Борисовна, мы сейчас будем отправлять вам почте для голосования ссылку.
Хорошо.
Ага, Gmail. Бауыржанович. Алуа Жақсылыққызы.
Я почтамды қарап отырмын, әлі келмеді.
Аха. Ерік Бауыржанович, Алуа
Да, қазір. Кіріп жатырмыз қазір.
Мен дауыс беріп қойдым.
Так, Жанна Борисовна, у вас получается или...
Нет, у меня, к сожалению, не получается, пока ничего на почту не пришло.
Ага, сейчас.
Жанна Борисовна, у вас адрес Иванова как? Точка.
Жанна 001.
Иванова. Жанна 001, да?
Да. Сейчас я скажу точно. Да. Иванова 001. Ну, через точку.
Gmail.com, да?
Посмотрите,
Да.
в спаме где-нибудь посмотрите. Там.
Нет, странно, что не приходит. Так, спам. Нет. А, да, пришло в спам. Угу.
Ерік Бауыржанович.
Қазір. Что-то қазір маған ашылып жатыр почтам.
Болды.
Ага, все, қазір. Вот мына ашылып жатыр қазір. Жібердім.
Нормально. Бәрі дұрыс. Аха. Жанна Борисовна, как у вас пришло, получается?
Да, я в процессе сейчас делаю.
Спасибо, получили.
Ага. Спасибо. To announce the result of the voting, the floor is given to the academic secretary of the dissertation council, candidate of law, associate professor, Timurhanului.
Thank you very much. Allow me to present the result of voting on the issue of the applicant of Van Хэюн for the award to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy under the educational program 8D04-201 International Law. First, to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD 9, to send the dissertation for revision O, 3 send the dissertation for the defense O, 4 refuse to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy O. Thank you.
Thank you. Dear members, our next step is to discuss the draft conclusion of the dissertation council and approve the qualification criteria of the dissertation. Qualification features of the dissertation. Number 1, description of the results of the dissertation. Which one? 1.2.
1.2, yeah.
1.2.
1.2.
1.2. Second, the novelty of the results of the dissertation.
2.1.
2.1. 2.1. Third, the value of the results of the dissertation.
3.1.
3.1. Okay. Number 4, the connection of the thesis topic with planned research.
4.3.
Any opinion? 4.3.
4.2 also is close.
I think 4.3. Innovate work. Number 5, the level of implementation of the results of the dissertation of applied importance.
5.2.
5.2.
Intersectional level. Yeah.
Okay. And number 6, recommendations for the wide application of the results of the dissertation of applied importance.
6.1.
6.1.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And, resolution. Based on the results of the public defense of the dissertation titled Jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court on the Prosecution of Individuals and the outcome of the secret ballot for 9 against 0, the council resolves. First, to award Van Хэюн the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the educational program 8D04-201 International Law. Second, the decision of the dissertation council to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy to Wang Хэюн in the educational program 8D04-201 International Law is recommended to Al-Farabi Kazakh National University as a base for issuing the corresponding order. And number 3, to approve the resolution of the dissertation council on Wang Хэюn dissertation. The final word is given to applicant.
Yes.
Finally.
Final
Final speech.
First of all, I really excited because the decision made by the Castel. My family came to the last step of the PhD study in the Castel. Thanks again. I really, all of the words I think can be in this one word. Thank you for all of the committee members and online reviewers, or even the offline reviewers. Thanks for your comments. And I think my skill of the writing and reading will be developed higher and higher according to your suggestion. Well, I must say, well, it was really an interesting and exciting experience studying in Kazakhstan, because I met so many amazing professors, well, just like you, especially, well, my supervisor, Mr. Tatarinov, and the dean, well, Professor Ruth Starenbaeva, and my professor Raffaele, and Michelle, the head of the department, Maria Gamilia. I was so excited because, well, and all of them. Today, I'd like to say thanks for the attendance, Professor Aydalbayev and Michelle Professor Arun. Both of them came to the defense. It made me really amazing and glad. But at the start, I was a little bit nervous, but when I see so many familiar faces, I calm down and I feel warm. I feel like this is the family and you're all of the relatives to me. So, thanks.
Thank you, dear members, I want to thank our dissertation council members, temporary members, the official reviews, and the scientific consultants. Thank you so much. Our meeting closed.
Спасибо большое.
Special conclusion.